Hey everyone, this is a brand new jointer that we just purchased. It is from Grizzly and it is a brand new model this year.
That's right. It is the G0490ZX introduced in 2024 by Grizzly. It is similar to the G0490X.
How is that different?
There are some differences. There's a lot the same.
Okay.
Okay, so this video, we're going to show it, receiving it, show it being shipped and delivered to our house. We're going to show assembly because this definitely came with some assembly required.
And some calibration.
And a lot of calibration. And then I'll go into the differences between the models and the similarities, and then I'll show you first impressions. This is the first joiner that we've had at our home. We're really excited about it. It's going to let us do a lot more advanced woodworking. So let's get going.
All right.
Okay, guys, so we got it delivered. So here is the Grizzly. This is the Grizzly Jointer G0490ZX delivered. It's in two pieces. We're gonna have to get this piece here onto this piece. We first got to figure out how to get this off the pallet. Each of these are around 300 pounds or so. Here we go. If you don't.
Oh, hey.
Now let's go look at it.
Ooh.
I mean, it looks brand new and no damage.
I mean, they advised us to wear clothes that we will throw away because this thing is so full of oil and we will run our clothes.
I mean, that's what we're doing.
Well, these are my good construction clothes. What are you talking about?
It does have oil all over it.
It does.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well.
I don't see any damage to it yet.
Yep.
We could still damage it.
We could just drop this thing. So yeah, it looks fine.
I don't see any on this side. All right, time to open up the next one.
Next crate.
Hey, before we get too far in, I just thought I'd let you know. So this is a G0490ZX. So anybody familiar with Grizzly jointers, which I do not assume all of you are, Grizzly jointers have formerly, for a long time, had the G0490X, no Z, just X. And so I called in to find out what the difference was because this one was on a good sale. So you know, this is in 2024, July of 2024, this was $1,725 plus $329 shipping plus taxes and all that stuff. So y'all know what's going in on this. This is a little bit over $2,100. That's what this is. The G0490X, which is the one that they've had forever, was around $2,100 on sale, and now it's back up to about $2,400, $2,500, and that's before shipping. And so I asked them, you know, what's going on? Why is this on sale? One person heard that it's because they had oversupply of this one, but what they told me, who knows which one is right, what they told me is there's a new supply for this. So they've changed the actual manufacturing plant for this device, for this actual jointer, and so they're getting a better price for it. They said the metal on the bed here is the exact same thickness as the G0490X. They said that the motor is a little bit different. This head is the same, and this is it's not a helical head, it's a spiral head, which should still be good. A helical head would technically be a little better, but for the cost savings, I'm okay with this. The one with the helical head would have been about another $500, and we just didn't need to spend that, especially with the level that we're doing this. We're not professionals yet, y'all.
And I am also enjoying, as you're talking to me, we've got our little benchtop jointer like over there on the shelf that we are not using.
Oh yeah, that porter cable. That was a 6-inch way back there in the red and the white. That's a porter cable, and we got that on a slick deal for maybe $100, maybe a little less, maybe it was 50, I can't remember. But we haven't even used it once. We realized that basically all of our wood, which is over there, if you want to show them all the wood, anything with those blue ends and on the side, all of those are wider than 6 inches, the vast majority.
Let's go over here and visit. We've got a bunch of nice walnut over here.
There's ash below it.
Yeah, some wormy ash. That's a bunch of cedar that we pulled out of the house, so you can ignore that.
And these are also a whole bunch of walnut boards here. And basically the majority of them are wider than 6 inches, and anybody that knows sizes may actually see this is wider than 8. We're going to show you how to work that on the jointer so that you can go wider than 8 inches on this jointer. This is a planar jointer jig that we had. It's just a long piece of MDF with a stop on it. And it does okay, but it does not do well for boards this size and this size. These are 10-foot long, 2-inch thick walnut or 8-quarter walnut. And they're really heavy. And what we found with the planar jointer jig, even if our joiner could handle it, which it kind of could, you'd have to do a lot of small passes. But the problem was it was just so heavy that when we moved it from one side all the way around to the other and put it back through, it would lose all of the adjustments we had made to make it actually flat. So
It was just too
jointer's a better
bendy. It
solution.
just didn't have enough support.
It wasn't going to work. We called it rather than renting our wood. So I can use the planar jointer jig on smaller pieces of wood. I can cut it down, and I'll probably end up using that same one as a way to make those other guys work for the 8-inch joiner, which we'll show you later. But anyway, so this, I just wanted to show you that this, it's a different model. It's the same specs, it's the same size, it's a 76-inch bed with, I think it's 43 inches on the right side and not that, whatever the difference is,
the math
on the
is.
other side.
Good job.
So that's all exciting. This is like 350 pounds. This is maybe another 350. I haven't tried to lift it yet. This makes me feel good about, we've been making art frames lately, and this makes me feel good about making those art frames. I've been using staples.
Oh, is this just stapled together?
Yeah, it's just
Oh.
stapled together.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the other one had nails.
Yeah, nail looking things. Yeah, this is just stapled together. They said that this version of it, this is a little bit higher shipping and a little bit higher weight than the G0490ZX. Anyway, they said that a lot of the difference is that this shipping container here is just more sturdy.
So it's like 50 pounds difference or 30 pounds difference?
Yeah,
or
it's
something?
like, yeah, it's maybe a few pounds. Yeah, maybe it was 30 pounds or something. And I could see that if the other one is just surrounded in cardboard and this one has actual wood around it, that will make a difference. Apparently, we get a pallet too.
All right. Bonus pallet.
It looks like it's just pine.
Hey.
we go. Here, I'll just take this outside so you can see what's inside. It's upside down.
Yes. So it's upside down. Oh, and it's nice. It's got foam packed around the edges to help protect it. That's nice.
That is nice. I don't think the others has that.
I think I did with the cardboard ones. It was cardboard and foam.
Okay.
But this is a bit more protection with the,
So-
with the wood.
There's a lot we have to do here. I'm pretty sure this has to get mounted to this over here or something, or
That's the thing that rotates up, and it's a switch, I think, maybe. I don't know. We'll find out.
there's a lot we have to do, but this is the bottom. You can see the feet here, so that's the bottom of it. It should have wheels. Yep, here's the wheels, which means there's a little wheelie thing.
Was there a
that's missing
thing
here.
difference about between this one and the next model up with the helical head about the wheels being a little bit better in this model?
Yes, yes, there is, and that was a big portion of why we went for this one rather than the other one. So there is a G058, wait, 858. I'm going to try to get these right. I think it's G0858, which was also 76-inch bed. It did not, I don't think the in feet and out feet were the same lengths, but it was still total the same. And it had a helical head. It's also been around for a long time, and it was, after taxes, I think we were looking at about $2,500 for that one, after taxes and shipping. But the main reason that we didn't go with it, other than the helical head would have been good, but its wheels were just little caster wheels at the bottom, like tiny tinies, and we wouldn't be able to turn it easily. They're pretty small.
I mean,
They're small.
those are straight wheels, but then I think this end you get like a turny guy that gets stuck on the
Right.
end.
From how it was described to me, this one, I mean, when I called it, especially when I was talking to the guy what the difference is and everything, I did talk to him about those two, and he said, oh, you definitely want this one because this one has a little pop-up wheel that you can swivel and you can turn it around your garage really easily, which for us, that's important.
But our garage floor is not even. It's terrible.
No, it's not even, and you should be able to unscrew these and screw these to where you can get, yeah. So these, typically on most tools that are heavy, you could screw and unscrew these legs to get it a certain height.
Reasonably level.
Yeah. The levelness doesn't really matter too much for it, in my opinion, unless you're trying to align stuff. But the main thing here is that we can move it around the garage easily.
And then also, it's interesting that it was delivered this way. It's delivered kind of mounted up this way a little bit at an incline, and I don't know why. Maybe
Oh,
that's
it probably
to
just
help us
slipped. It probably slipped,
out.
most likely.
There's like a stack of pallet right there.
I don't know.
We don't know.
I just know it's not beaten up, so I'm
It
happy.
looks intentional.
Yeah,
So.
looks intentional. I don't see any major scratches. I don't see any major dents. This definitely is steel, so that's great. Only problem is it's super humid today.
Oh yeah.
Like super, it just rained. Y'all, it rained right before this was delivered.
Okay, here, let me swap with me for a second.
Okay, okay. Whoa. Hey.
Hey, so I want to say something about delivery. And it was the freight company. We had to ask specifically for a liftgate. That was another $35 when we put the order in for this. The freight company, they were responsible to get it to the end of our driveway, and that's all. But our delivery guy actually put it on a little manual forklift thing and brought it all the way up into the garage. And that was wonderful because I was worried about how are we going to get it from the end of the driveway all the way up here, being like 650 pounds, split into parts, but still. So I saw one video where someone took the crate and they put a car jack underneath it, and then they put attached casters to the bottom, and then they could roll it, because we didn't have that type of machine to roll it with. So I'm very grateful for our delivery guy for bringing it all the way up here into the garage, especially since it's been raining off and on. So I just want to say that.
Okay.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
get going.
Let's get going. Let's read a manual.
Okay. All right, this is the basic unboxing of the jointer. It comes with pushing blocks, some tools to help in assembly and parts, some bolts and screws, and tools for replacing the blades. This is the back fence. This red part is the guard. And this is the back assembly that allows the fence to adjust position.
Okay, so now we turn the unit on its side as the instructions said that's the thing to do. So we turn it on its side to install the motor and the rest of the assembly. Here we actually have the top now on the unit. We ended up trying to lift it ourselves, and it turns out we needed our neighbor's help. With our neighbor's help, we were able to lift it really quick. It only took a couple seconds, and that was done. Now we're trying to assemble the motor and the belt so that it's all aligned with each other. We're using a straight edge and doing our best here. Foreshadowing, we didn't quite get it right. If you stick around to the end, you're going to see what went wrong, and it went pretty wrong.
This is us attaching the button assembly, the start-stop button that was upside down inside the base earlier when we first received the crate. And it's basically just take off the bolts and put it in place.
And now we put the fence on, and I'm starting to try to align the bed. You try to align the left side of the bed, and then you align the right. So that's what I'm doing here, but you'll see pretty soon it wasn't quite perfect.
I know it may be hard to see, but you can see a slight bit of, when I push down here, you can see that they both have some give. So I need to raise this whole side up. So I'm going to try to do that. It's getting better. Okay, so now right here, we are trusting this level to be straight quite a bit. But here, I mean, that's pretty perfect. And then on the other side, again, that's pretty perfect.
Now that the beds are aligned, I used our machinist square to find out a true 90 for the fence so that what it thinks is 90 is actually 90 degrees. And then it was the Johnson paste wax to put on the whole machine.
We are not rolling in the dough right here. That is an old can of Johnson paste wax. Those things are super valuable.
I don't even know when we got it. Like, we've had that can for, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, maybe 20, I think a long time, y'all.
Anyway, waxing the surface to prevent rust.
Right. And I ended up actually waxing it twice, just so you know. I waxed it, gave it a few minutes, and then did one more time. And now I'm pulling electrical. So I'm just showing a little bit of this because it took a long time. So this is the Dovo, D-O-V-O-H. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. Laser level line that was sent to us. We're really, really happy and excited about this. This is by far the most real deal one that we've had. It has batteries in it that come out and can be replaced, so you can charge 2 at a time or 3 at a time instead of just having one internal battery. It has multiple lines that come on. So it has a vertical, it has another vertical, and then it has a horizontal line. It also has more padding in it. They call it dual amortization, which I think is a fancy way of saying it's got rubber gaskets and padding in there so that if it falls, it doesn't get damaged. It also has a 5-year warranty on accuracy, that they'll be sure to take care of that. And it's just super, super visible. Like, look at how bright this is. I'm gonna make sure not blind myself. Let me see here, I gotta press the right button. So there is a vertical line, and if I press it again, I know you can't see it, but there's another vertical line coming out this way. It's really, really cool. I'm really excited about it. So I just want to share it with you. I'm going to get back to the build and get this line going because I'm going to use this to make sure I'm pulling down a straight line. Now that I have my straight line, I could install all these little clips that I got. So guys, I'm just copying what's in another area of our garage. I just want to make sure I say I'm not an electrician. Don't take my advice on any of this electricity stuff. Consult your own local code and your own electrician. But I ran a 12-2 line, which is capable of running 240 volts without a problem, and 20 amps, which is what this called for. And I'm going to be installing a NEMA 620 outlet, which is what the actual unit calls for. You do screw it in with your grounding screw, with the grounding wire here to the actual metal box. And at the top, I do have a strain relief clamp to take stress from the wire.
Now, in order to protect that wire, you could run it through conduit against that block wall, or you could build a little studded out 2x4 wall to protect the whole thing.
I should say I have the NEMA 620 outlet up right here because that's the best way the jointer plugs into the wall. All right. So here we go. We're going to find out if it turns on or not. I guess we get to try to see if a piece of wood goes through. So here we go. Let me open the garage door. Okay, so I have a piece of walnut. Here's the back of it to give you an idea. So we're going to see if this works without any adjustments. It might need adjustments. We'll have to find out. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, let's try another pass. It's getting most of it. We got to do another pass. And there's smoke coming out of it. Whew. Well, that was a test. The belt came loose. Hey guys, okay, so we just had almost disaster strike. So we had a leak. This is right after I had gotten my brand new jointer, which now has wonderful rust spots on it. Luckily I did have some wax on it, so it's not that bad. This whole table is wet. It's pretty bad. The whole floor is wet. Here, let me show you. The whole floor across the entire garage is wet.
I've already been taking out like at least 6 or 7 bucket loads of the shop vac of water.
And it's using the shop vac to get it out. We're about to try to brush it out. There wasn't any, it's kind of a low spot back there. This whole table that we were going to use as a flat edge is now soaked. We'll see how that does. It's not good.
All right, so crisis averted. This is a few days later and we have dried out. Thank you to friends for letting us borrow their dehumidifier. It worked really well. So a little bit of things to note with the water. We had a water line up here that burst, and so it sprinkled and rained. Yes, it's up there.
It was up there. It was right where it's cut, essentially.
Oh yeah, right there.
Which
So what happened is that everything under this table basically got soaked, including our DeWalt planer. And this guy handled it like a champ. It was absolutely soaked, but the motor, when we opened it up, was dry.
She says that. I mean, it was drenched.
That being said, we haven't turned it on.
It was almost
yet.
directly under where the leak was.
Yeah.
It was under I guess under one of these, underneath, like it was underneath something else, but it was right under it. The whole bed got soaked.
We've got a little bit of
fine.
rusty screws right here that we're going to have to put in that rust away stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. And then when I took off the top, so the top, these little screws on the top here, I've already put them in that stuff. They were rusted, but they kept the majority of the water out from in here. And luckily, I guess water just didn't spill right in this hole because no water got inside. When I opened it up, there's no trace of water getting inside of there at all.
No water spray whatsoever. You can see over here on our shelves, excuse me, over here, you can see kind of like right here in the dust is like some water spray. So that's what happened over here, is that because back here was the leak, water sprayed and it reached this jointer just a little bit and it just kind of sprinkled on the very edge. The floor was not wet over here directly under the jointer. This happens to be a high spot, apparently.
Guys, look at this while we're here. Look.
And also the table saw just had a little bit of sprinkle on there, and then.
But look at this while we're here. Here, just show them this.
Okay.
Show them this. So this is. I put a rust remover on here to get rid of the rust. It was like a navel jelly, and it kind of etched the surface, guys.
Aww.
It looked brand new. There's no, to the touch, it's smooth. I should just make sure I say.
Yeah, the functionality of the jointer is not ruined. It just looks a little sad now. We like to keep things nice as possible, and that was just instantly, like 2 days after we got this thing.
I could have kept this looking new for like at least a decade, guys. At least like pretty good looking.
Because we're gentle on our tools.
3 days of having it. Anyway, we may have a video later. If you guys know of a way to get rid of this etching or residue or whatever's on here, if you know of a best way, I started to try over here 1500 grit sandpaper. If you know of an easy way to get rid of this, let me know. We might do a different video showing how to refinish your planer top.
Well, and it has etching on here from the stuff that would take away the rust. So there's no rust. That's the good thing.
Yeah, rust is gone.
All right, so how is the jointer now?
So the jointer is doing pretty well. So the water, which was a full-on shower in the garage, I don't know if Anna or I emphasized that enough. It was like a shower in here. So it broke up over there in that area. So it was about 8 feet away from the jointer. So basically just little droplets came, and we replaced it now with the PEX line that you're seeing now. That's the blue line. And honestly, we should have done that years ago. It just never occurred to me that that's something we should do, and it never occurred to me that a water line, even though it was the refrigerator ice maker water line, it didn't occur to me that it would just randomly burst one day.
I think they're known for doing that.
And whose rule is it that as soon as you get something good, something bad happens?
Yeah.
Anyway, so 3 days in of having this jointer, we had that shower happen, and water droplets did get all the way across the bed and on this backside too.
It really could have been much worse. We only had water droplets on the jointer, and the table saw it was over here, so it really, really could have been much worse. We were very fortunate.
It could have been much worse. And the good news is we also caught it pretty early on, so it was probably, according to the water bill, at least a few hours in.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah, the water bill doubled.
I mean, we had like a quarter inch of water on the floor.
Okay, so the water bill doubled, it didn't triple. And so that's how I'm thinking it was a few hours.
Okay.
So this guard here, which by the way, this is not plugged in right now, just so, not plugged in. This guard here protected this whole blade assembly underneath it from the water. So that ended up being great. I'm really glad that this was here. This has paint on it. It didn't care about the water. This seems to not have any problems from it. So overall, pretty good. The rust remover did leave some marks on it, but to the touch, everything is perfectly smooth. It has not affected the impact of how the jointer runs. So let's get to talking about how the jointer is running. So last time you saw me, I had smoke coming out of the back of this. Um,
Yeah, so what happened there? What was going on?
Okay, this is not something that I remember reading in the manual. It could have been in there, and I haven't seen it in other videos, but we had it pushed down to where we had that 1/4 inch of tension on the belt that it wanted.
The engine, because you move
The
the
motor,
belt,
yes.
you move the motor from one location to another, from shipping position to installed position.
Right, and you move it left and right to be aligned vertically with it, right? They didn't emphasize, or at least I didn't read the emphasis much enough. Let's say it's just on me. It also needs to be aligned like horizontally to it. Like it needs to be on the same exact
I think
angle.
the instructions really emphasize having
So-
like a 1/4 inch of deflection of the belt, and they really emphasize the belt tension.
Yes, but they didn't, at least I don't remember reading, now the manual is ruined and wet and soaked.
Yeah, it's gone.
I don't remember reading about the belt needing to be exactly aligned, but that makes sense when you just think about it. So let me tell you a pro tip on when you're assembling your G0490GX, or ZX, I'm sorry, when you're assembling it. So what I did is I unplugged it from the wall, important, and then I took this off, I think, maybe, I can't remember. But anyway, I got it to where I could get to the belt, and I physically pulled the belt by hand, and if it started getting off, I adjusted the angle of the motor. I had both the front and the back off, and I would adjust it up and down towards the front and the back until when I pulled the belt, it no longer tried to slip off going forward or backwards. I know this makes like perfect common sense. This is what you would do. I didn't think about doing it before I ran the machine for the first time.
And I don't think it was explicitly listed in the instructions, I'm just going to say.
So if you were to do this yourself, I would say before you plug it in, just by hand, pull the belt by hand back there and make sure it doesn't shift forward or backwards on the actual tracks. When you have this machine, you'll see there are tracks.
They're kind of grooved and a little
grooved,
sharpy.
right? Just make sure it doesn't jump off the grooves. You also still want that 1/4 inch of tension. You want it pretty tight, but you also want to make sure, like, as you're pulling it, which is like I'm milking an udder, I don't know. Anna's making a face. Can't do that on YouTube.
No, you can't.
As you're pulling it, you want to make sure that it's not coming off the track. So that's what I've done, and it took maybe another 30 minutes, and I got it to work out. Also, I would say on this front and back, I did end up having to adjust this a little bit more for the beds than I had done before. Once I had run some through, I noticed it just was a little bit off from being perfectly flat. And so I redid this side completely, and then I redid this side completely to make sure that it was all perfect. And that really, I would say it really helps being able to plug it in and run a board through it to make sure that it's doing a 90. So let me run a board through it, and we're gonna look and see if it still does 90.
Do we want to open up that door? Because we're just going to be blasting all the wood chips into nothing since we don't have any air cleaner.
It turns out we were wrong. So my thought, or our thought on it, was that it would blast the wood chips out to the side like a planer does. The planer just launches wood chips out of it.
This guy, I think there's a fan in there that pushes the wood chips out. This guy, not so
I don't know
much.
if it has, I don't know what it is, but that thing launches stuff out the back of it. This one, it's kind of like I don't know.
It needs the suction from a dust collector, it turns out.
Right. So it turns out without a dust collector, the sawdust goes everywhere. For now, that's just our situation. Having this garage door open or closed makes very little difference.
Other than it like spewing all over the garage door, but
I'm going to plug this in to my newly installed outlet. That works so well. I was happy, two things. I was happy that first off, this works great. The assembly that I put in, the Romex 12.2, perfect, no problems at all. And it didn't get wet. And I'm not the one that broke that line. I know somebody out there is going to be like, oh, well, did you bust that line yourself putting through? It busted like 10 feet away from where I was pulling lines through. So I just want to make sure I point that out. It wasn't me.
Okay.
I really thought I did it. I really thought, oh, that was my bad. All right, so I'm going to try doing this here.
Mask. We got
mask. Okay, I'm putting cedar through it. I'm not very concerned. Cedar's a pretty safe wood to work with.
Mask anyway.
So, okay, I have this on. Have this going. I got my squares that also saw water and rusted a little.
Nice dunk in the rusty stuff.
And then here's my little push sticks. Oh, these push blocks or push sticks, these are not great that it comes with. They're a little grabby, but they're not very grabby. So just something to know.
Do you want the other one that's better? It's right there. Right there.
Sure. Yeah, this is my Grabber Pro, which is not a, what's the real one? Gripper? It's not a Gripper.
This is a knockoff guy.
It is a Grabber. All right. You do want two, though. Oh, here, let me show you my board. Here's what it looks like on the underneath.
Okay, you put some squiggles on there?
I put some squiggles on there, and it's completely rough. This is a rough cedar board. We got it in a 70% coal lumber. So this board was, I don't know, 50 cents.
It's dimensional lumber, though, already. It's not super, I mean, it's got the, well,
it's not flat.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
It has a convex concave. We're going to see, I don't remember how much I had to set down, but we're going to just see.
Here, show me that in the light over here, kind of angled. There you go.
All right, so that's really all that took. So let me run the edge. Put on my mask again. All right. So now we'll put our little squares on it. This is a machinist square, right?
Yep.
And if we do this here, I'm going to try to hold this where you can see it.
Hold on, can't focus. There we go. Hold on. Yep.
So this is perfectly flat.
Pretty good.
I mean, all the way across, perfectly flat, no divot at all. On the other side, if I do this, here, let me show you the other side. So on this side,
Oh, I see the space.
see the space?
Yep.
You know, if I push it down, see it's like all tipping?
Yeah.
And then I kind of go to my other side that I just did. There is no tipping. That's it.
Okay.
Success.
Success. Jointer success.
I have a second little one.
Okay.
Because you always check your square with another square.
Okay.
So, there you go. All right, I'm going to go back here. So, overall, I'm really impressed with this machine. That had some assembly required, a lot of assembly required.
I mean, it came in pieces, so yeah.
It took me 3 days to set it up, totally, but I wasn't going the whole time, you know, I was taking breaks. But it took me 3 days of never having set up one before to set it up. And then the third day, we had the water. I did want to point out a few differences of it versus the G0490X versus the ZX, which the new model is the ZX.
So there's just no Z in the other one?
Right.
Okay.
So the differences, just so you know, this is different. So the other one, you have to push and turn it on, and it has an on and off. I don't know if it has a key. Oh, if I could pull it out. Here's the key. So if you can take this away, this is a safety key, and without it, they can't turn on the machine. Like, it just won't turn on. So if you have kids around or anybody that just shouldn't be around power tools, you can pull this out and have it away from the tool, and it'll keep them from being able to actually turn on the machine.
And I say that I'm very happy with this. This has a guard. I feel like they all should come with a guard, but like when we were looking at Craigslist ones or Facebook Marketplace ones, some of them older models of things, just different brands, just didn't have the guard, and we thought, you know, that's a very important.
It is. Well, and that's how we watch a lot of YouTube. That's how the Perkins brothers, that's how he hurt his hand, was with the jointer, where he had on sound protection and put his hand down, and it took part of his hand off. Important. Be careful. This is a real tool. This is a way to hurt yourself. Always be careful. And in some applications, like when we're going to do wider than 8-inch boards, you have to take this guard off. So always be careful. Oh, and this right now is missing a piece that goes here. I still have to put, it's right there.
Oh yeah.
I still have to put it in like rust remover. This is one of them. You can still see there's some rust spots on it. This goes right on here, like that.
Okay.
Just, or something like that. Anyway, It goes
We
on
don't
there.
have the instruction booklet anymore to tell us.
I
So.
know. It goes on there somewhere. I just don't have it on there right now. I don't know if I really need it. By the way,
That might be the thing that gives you like a little lip to it.
what does this do, guys? If anybody knows.
Is that the
I
thing
don't
that
know what
gives-
it does.
All
I
right.
couldn't find out anything about it. Anyway. Okay. So
We're
y'all,
sounding like real experts here on this thing. But
okay.
yes, it's our like first time having a jointer. So.
First time having a jointer. You also final, I guess, final words on this. I think it's a really good jointer. I don't see how the X versus the ZX, I don't see how it could be much better. They still have 3 horsepower. This motor pulls 14 amps continuously, whereas the other one pulls 15 amps continuously. That is a difference. That works out well with my 12.2 Romex line. 12.2 Romex line can only carry about 15 amps continuously, like constantly. It can go up to 20 amps, but 15 continuous. So just a note on if you're using that kind of line. Not an electrician, consult your electrician, consult your code, all that sort of stuff. So overall, it does really well. The guard works really well. I was able to align this after hours and hours and hours and hours of trying to make this align correctly. Definitely follow their instructions of align it to the blade, or the blades in this case. Align the outfeed table, and then align the infeed table to the outfeed table, and yell out of frustration at least a few times.
Well, and do it at the hottest time of the year, so it makes your brain go super slow.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
But thanks for watching. We appreciate it. We have a lot of projects coming up using this tool. One of the first projects we may have coming up is cleaning your jointer bed, how to resurface your jointer bed. If any of you guys have good suggestions on this, let me know. I have a few ideas, but I'd love to hear from you and what you think we should do to make it look better. Or should we just leave it? Because honestly, it's flat.
It's really
just,
aesthetics.
It's just aesthetics. So do we even care? Should we care? So that's that. It's working great. I'm really excited to have it. Oh, one downside I forgot to mention, when you move this forward and backwards, like this actual fence, well, that's that. Let's see here. This one, when you move it forwards and backwards, it does lose the 90-degree angle.
So you need to check every time when you move the fence, just make sure you've got 90 back.
Right. So you always want to put your machinist square back on there, which I would say you do want a machinist square. I wouldn't trust a regular square. You do want your machinist square, and you want to put it back and make sure it's 90. Like right now, I can tell it's not. And then you want to adjust it until it is 90. And then once you have it, you lock it in. So that's just important to make sure to know that you do have to readjust this every time you move the fence.
Okay, now let's say goodbye.
Okay, so final thoughts on the Grizzly G0490ZX. I think it's really good. It does the job I wanted it to do. The spiral head versus the helical head, I've never used the helical head. I would say the spiral head is fairly quiet as it is, and it's doing a very clean cut. Like if you saw the board earlier, it's a really clean cut. I'm really excited about it. I really like this power assembly here, that you have a key that you can pull out for safety, and the start and stop are separate buttons. I do really like this, and it seems really easy to use. Overall, I'm just really happy with it. It's definitely, the beds are staying true. Once I have it set up, they're staying true to how they are. The fence, you do have to realign it every time you move it, but I am okay with that. The X has the exact same problem. So for 2024 money, this was $17.25 before shipping. I really do think that was probably worth the money. I say probably because I know it used to be less. But anyway, I'm excited about the future projects coming up. We have, refinishing the bed. Again, tell me how to fix that. And we also have, we're going to be putting some big boards through here for the dining table, which is all the walnut we have over there. We have bed frames we're going to be doing. We have workshop tables, which I think is the very next thing we'll be doing. So I'm excited about that. Lots of projects coming up. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We are happy to respond, and usually do respond to most of our comments. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much, guys.